Hey, what's going on, Colorado? Hope that you are doing well. Hey, quick question for you. Have you thought about participating this year in Colorado Gives Day? Uh, I want to share with you some ideas on ways that you can help kids in our community. I'm Aaron Johnson, and I'm coming to you from Castle Rock. This is a special Colorado Gives Day segment of my live stream, Mile High Live. Now, officially, Colorado Gives Day, it's a statewide movement to increase online giving, and it's all focused around Tuesday, December 7th, and it is organized by Community First Foundation and sponsored by First Bank. Now, unofficially, and in my own words, Colorado Gives Day is the day where we open up our hearts we step up and open up our hearts, open up our wallets, and we support our community. Now, the good news is there are over 3,000 nonprofit and charitable organizations across Colorado that you can support. The trouble is there's 3,000 nonprofits and charitable organizations around Colorado that you can support, and that's a lot, and it's hard to choose. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help eliminate the overwhelm in deciding if you're going to contribute, where you can spend your money and make it meaningful. So I'm doing that by spotlighting organizations that are helping children overcome their circumstances, regardless of what those circumstances are, or maybe because of what those circumstances are. So joining me today is Courtney Wickberg of A Precious Child, and I'll get this right here. There we go. A Precious Child. There it is. Courtney Wickberg, the communications officer at A Precious Child, to share about how her nonprofit is helping children and families overcome crisis situations from poverty. And she's going to share how your support during Colorado Gives Day will help make a meaningful difference in the lives of people in our community. So, will you please help me welcome Courtney Wickberg? Hey, Courtney, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so
All
much for
right.
having me on today.
Hey, I'm glad to have you. Thank you for joining me. Look, I've been excited to do this for most of this year. I've had Colorado Gives Day marked on my calendar to do this sort of thing. So I am grateful that you're taking time here to share about A Precious Child and what you guys are doing. So let's just start off, real simply. Can you tell us a little bit about A Precious Child and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so A Precious Child is a nonprofit that provides opportunities and resources to children and families in need. We have 5 cradle to career initiatives that we truly believe help support the child throughout their entire life so that they can become contributing members of the community. So we have child and family advocacy, family stability, academic success, child and and workforce development, where we're really seeing those children being providing them opportunities and resources throughout their entire life so that they can truly just start on that right foot, leading them into the workforce so that they can be successful members of the community. The cool thing about A Precious Child is that we work with more than 500 agency partners that we
Wow.
collaboratively work with so they can refer families to us so that by the time families and children are coming to receive services from A Precious Child, they've already verified that they're in need. And so they're starting on a dignified foot. We really
Mm.
want to empower our families. And if the first time you're meeting someone is to have to show them how much you need their support, it's not setting them off on the right foot. So we're really able to come alongside families, work with them, and then collaboratively work with the community and all the amazing nonprofits that are out there to work together to serve those children in need. So when we work together, the people who benefit the most are all those children that we're all trying to serve.
Sure. No, that's great. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. I appreciate that. And we'll spend a few minutes diving into that so folks understand. Okay, so what is your organization doing around Colorado Gives Day? Is there a special campaign, giving opportunities, initiative that you all are focused on right now?
So for Colorado Gives Day, we're focusing all the funding on our programming, but
Okay.
specifically our precious gift programming, especially during the holidays. And I'm sure everyone can kind of relate to the issues that are still very much prevalent due to the pandemic. And a lot of families are still struggling out there. And so many families are unable to afford Christmas gifts for their children. And we never want a child to feel that they are not worthy or they don't deserve a gift just due to circumstances. And so our precious gift program, we're able to collect the top three gift wishes of the children
Mm,
that we're working with. And then we connect them with donors and individuals to make sure that these children are getting something that they want for the holidays. And the cool extra step that we take to ensure that there is that dignity aspect is that we actually ask for all the gifts to be unwrapped. And then we ask for donations of wrapping paper so that mom and
mm.
dad can be a part of the process. They get to wrap the gift for their
Oh,
child. They get to, have that same tradition. If, every year they wrap gifts together on Christmas Eve, we want those families to keep those traditions and keep it as normal as possible so that, again, we're coming
hmm.
alongside and just supporting these families through a tough time with the hopes that they'll eventually become self-sufficient and come out on the other side and, become volunteers and donors of a precious child.
Yeah, that's great and interesting. You guys, you get the parents involved, hands-on, in, a lot of other organizations and church around this time of year. They say, bring a unwrapped gift, and then you get a gaggle of volunteers who do that wrapping. So the thoughtfulness that you guys have just at that level, thinking through all of those details, that is not insignificant. So good on you all for doing that. Okay, so as you started out, you listed several initiatives. You mentioned cradle to career services that you provide. So can you break down some of those and share, what a precious child does through, I believe there's 5 different initiatives that you all have that you went through?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have those 5 initiatives and then 11 programs under those initiatives.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we do a lot. But I mean, if you are raising a child, you can probably totally relate that children need a lot. They need a lot of support from infant all the way until they are joining the workforce.
I
And
have
so
4 kids, so yeah, I understand.
get it.
Yeah.
And so our goal is to really walk alongside these families and meet them with where they're at. So our main program that we see day in and day out is in our resource center, where families in
Mm,
need are able to come and shop free of charge. But again, that dignity aspect is at the forefront of everything that we do. So when you come into the resource center, you are greeted by our advocates and our case managers, but then you also have a welcome station where there's a massage chair, there's tea, there's coffee.
mm,
And so really starting families on that right foot to feel welcomed and
cool.
dignified. And then our case managers are walking through our families. I know every family is different. Poverty is not a cookie cutter issue. We have families fleeing domestic abuse. We have generational poverty. We have foster care families. All these families deserve different types of care. And so our case managers are fantastic with talking to our families, figuring out what their needs are, and then helping connect them to resources within a precious child. But the cool thing about working with more than 500 agency partners is that if we don't do it, we certainly know someone who does. And so
Mm,
we're able to connect those families to our partner agencies to receive further help so that these families are getting a holistic approach of services and support from the community. And then once the families talk to our case managers, they're actually able to shop in our resource center where everything is set up just like a store. We had our friends at TJ Maxx actually come out and help us, lower the racks,
wow.
lift these racks up, put the signs over here so that when families come in, they get their shopping cart, they're able to
Mm.
shop with dignity. And
It
it's so
feels
fun to
like
see.
that retail experience.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see the kids come and shop with their parents because they don't know everything's free. They know that their mom gets a shopping cart just like normal, and then they
Mm,
check out. But we just weigh everything that we give out to our families so we can identify how much inventory comes in and goes out every single day. But it's just so heartwarming to hear kids
yeah.
ask mom like, "Oh, mom, can I get this?" And her mom's like, "Oh, yep, throw it on the cart." And how many times does she have to say no in normal life? And
Right.
so for her to be able to say yes, put it on the cart, we can get that. It's just those little things that I feel have such a huge impact with our families. And so it's really neat to see that. We see about 35 families every single day. We provide resources from infant to adult. So people are able to get diapers, wipes,
Mm,
formula. We have a food pantry. So families are able to get peanut butter, mac and cheese, those small food items to help fill in the gaps between their next appointment at the food bank. But we have coats and everything like that, all the way up to adults. So mom and dad are also able to shop for themselves. And then we give about 40 items of clothing per person in the family. So these families
Wow.
are leaving with like two shopping carts full of
Yeah.
goods that they can really support their family with.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so friends, I have a question for you. I'm curious, have you contributed and participated in past years around Colorado Gives Day? I know, I've seen in social media in the past the all these ads for it, but I'll be honest, I have not contributed, but I'm changing that this year.
Yay.
So I am going to. So, friends, just say yes, no, why in the comments. Have you contributed in the past? Are you going to this year? Would love to know. Okay, so Courtney, you mentioned different organizations that you work with. Can you share a little bit about that as well? Because I think you guys work with a number of different private and nonprofit and agency groups within our community. Can you share about that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
currently we have about 547 agency partners, and these are
Wow.
other nonprofits, they're shelters, they're school districts, they're
Good.
schools, they're health and human service agencies, police departments, fire departments. Anyone who's able to identify a need in a child, we will partner with them. We have signed MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with every single agency partner so they understand what the requirements are for families to come and receive help. But we want to make it as easy as possible for families to receive our services without having to go through, showing us their first three paychecks when they come see us.
All
And
right.
so it's really neat to be able to see that. Oh, yay, Sally. Good to see that. But yeah, it's really neat to be able to work with our agency partners, because in that realm, we're able to really widen our scope. We're in Broomfield, but we serve
Hmm.
8 counties. And by working with so many different agency partners, we're able to kind of spread our wealth. In addition to that, since we are in Broomfield and we serve 8 counties, we actually have 44 satellite resource centers that are smaller versions of our big resource center up
Wow.
here.
Okay.
And we set them up in schools and shelters to help meet the need where it's at, because we, again, don't want to be another barrier on a family's path to supporting their family. And so if we're able to set up a small resource center at a school or a shelter, those children are able to get those resources quickly and with dignity, because we're
Mm,
not only providing the clothing and the shoes and the diapers, but we're also providing the racking and the shelving. So when the children go into that space, they're not being tossed over a bucket to dig through to see if a coat fits. They're getting to take
right.
something off a hanger, try it on, not like it, put it back. We want them to feel empowered, because for so many kiddos, you know, kids can be very cruel. And if they're at school and they're wearing the same outfit 3 days in a row because they don't have anything else, they're more worried about what kids are going to say to them, or
Sure.
what is being said about them, instead of focusing on school. And so this is truly just another way that we're able to help those kids focus on what the teacher's saying, and not necessarily worry about someone's going to notice I'm wearing the same outfit 3 days in a row.
Right. Sure. Um, yeah, what I hear you saying here, I mean, you guys have thought about it through the retail space, the user experience, walking through the door, how you're treating people, all the way through, the human side of it and the emotional side of it, and how you're helping them. You're meeting their emotional and physical needs as well. So, very thorough, thoughtful, and I think this is why A Precious Child is such a great organization, and why I wish people would consider this year during Colorado Gives Day to help support what you guys are doing. Okay, so what are some of the challenges right now that y'all are facing? Maybe specific to COVID, or just kind of in general this season. You can tackle that any way that you want, but I'm curious, what are some of the challenges you guys are facing, and how people's financial support can help you all out?
So we're still struggling just with the pure need. The need has been increased substantially over the
Sure.
past year and a half. Just last year alone, we were able to serve more than 57,000 children, which obviously is a huge, impressive number. But the true need in the 8 county service area that we serve is more than 250,000. So we're barely scratching the surface on the true need that's out there. And so just trying to tackle making sure that these families have everything that they need. And then along with our case management services, specifically last year, we saw a 1,600% increase in our case management services because so many families were needing to receive help for the first time, or they were needing to apply for food stamps, or they were needing to ask for help. And just being able to work alongside those families and help them with that, the first time that
Yeah.
you are reaching out for support can be really daunting and you don't know where to turn. And so we're so proud that we have created a safe space in the community where families feel empowered and comfortable coming to us to say, hey, I actually was a donor last year, but I lost my
Mm,
job
hmm.
and I need support this year. Like, how can I help? How can I get support?
Sure.
And so we've created kind of that environment, which we're so proud of. But the need continues to rise. And especially during the holidays, we have our goal this year is to serve more than 13,000 children with Christmas gifts. We
Wow.
have,
That's great.
with that list, we already have an emergency list created of more than 2,000 children because the calls keep coming in. And we hate saying no. We never want to be the reason why someone does not get a holiday gift, but our emergency list continues to grow. And so we just
Okay.
need extra support this year in helping us say yes to these families so that they can celebrate their children, they can celebrate the holiday as a family, and really create those steps on getting on the path to self-sufficiency.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about, how you first interact with people. And I'm always curious with an organization like this, how you interface at first with people in the community, or maybe how they first interface with you. How do you find out about them, or vice versa? How do they find out about you? Is it through, I imagine it's through the various organizations that you partner with. Maybe there's other ways, but can you share a little bit about what that looks like on your end as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of our families are referred by an agency partner. And so
Okay.
that's typically the first time that we're getting in front of families. And that's why we have so many agency partners, so that
Yeah.
it's never a struggle for a family to access our services because major school districts, a lot of the schools, we're partners with them. So the parents can go to a teacher and say, hey, we don't have gifts this holiday season, or we don't have coats during the wintertime. And they can quickly and easily refer them to our services, where we're not only, we are obviously providing them with that band-aid, the coat or the gift, but then we're taking the time to really dig in with our families to see what else can we do to really help
Good.
solve the issue that's at hand, whether that's helping mom get a job, it's helping, the family get childcare so mom can get a job. It's working on getting a vehicle so mom can get to a job. It's all these
Yeah.
different factors. And so, yes, we help with the initial good and resource, but we're also digging in deep to figure out how else can we create those concrete steps so these families are getting on the path to self-sufficiency and hopefully not needing our services. I mean, every nonprofit's goal is to not be needed anymore. We would love
Right.
to put ourselves out of business. And so working with our families to do that.
Okay. Good. Okay, so friends, I'm curious. Do you know somebody in your life, within your family, or maybe your group of friends that could benefit from the services that Courtney's talking about at A Precious Child? I know, within my own family, in the past, resource like this would have been helpful. So, look, this impacts a lot of people. Maybe somebody in your friends group, your family, maybe somebody that you know through work. So, consider contributing, reaching out to a precious child, supporting them, and you can do it around Colorado Gives Day, but also through other campaigns that they're doing. Okay, so I guess I want to keep this brief, but if could you share a little bit? I guess one last question about what you guys are all doing, and how did you all get started? How did A Precious Child get started? Because I think that's an amazing story. If you can share that as well.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
CEO and founder, Karina Martin,
Yeah.
started A Precious Child 13 years ago. We just celebrated our 13th anniversary
Wow.
a few weeks ago. But she started
Congratulations.
it in her, thank you. We started in her garage serving 50 kids that very first year. And flash forward to last year, and we were able to serve more than 57,000 children. But Karina really saw a need in the community, and she felt a calling that she needed to do more to support her community and that she could have an impact. And so she reached out to the mayor at the time, the police chief.
Wow.
She met with local nonprofits to figure out, if I'm going to do something, I want to do something that is filling a gap in service. Like, I don't, there's so many amazing nonprofits out there. How can I fill a gap so that we are working together and not competing? And so we quickly identified that basic resources, basic essentials were a huge need in our community, and that families
Mm.
couldn't afford necessarily to go to a thrift store to purchase items. They couldn't even afford that.
Yeah.
Um, and so having a space where families could access those services free of charge. And then as we continue to grow, we continue to dig deeper into the community, into our families' needs, and identifying all of the different things children need. So, we also do backpacks before the first day of school. We were able to fill more than 20,000 backpacks this past year. So the kids were starting the school year feeling prepared and confident. For a lot of those kids, it's the first time they've ever had anything new. So they're, dumping their backpack out, writing their name on their folder, just super pumped to go back to school,
Sure.
because if you don't have those resources, you are dreading going to school. You're like, I don't want to ask my teacher to borrow a piece of paper and a pen to start. And so we're able to really connect and make sure that they feel confident and comfortable going in that first day. But we also have supports for extracurricular activities, because as a father of four, I'm sure you know how expensive sports, band,
Yes.
all those amazing activities that kids can have access to. So many of the children we serve have to turn those opportunities down because they cannot afford it. Even if you join band at school, you have to rent the musical instrument.
Hmm.
So many of our kids just can't afford that. So our programs are able to come alongside. We help pay for the registration fees, the uniform, the equipment, whatever that child needs.
Yeah.
And then the child's actually able to participate. And that's when we really see a huge increase in attendance and grades, because kids are being held accountable. You have to make at least C's to be on the football team. And so it's all those different things that these kids are being held accountable for and are excited to participate in, and actually, form their first community group and their first group of friends, which is really cool to be able to see. And that's also how we've been able to partner with a lot of our celebrity ambassadors, like Justin Simmons and Dalton Reisner with
Mm.
the Denver Broncos, Ryan McMahon with the Colorado Rockies. They've all done sports camps for us this
Cool.
past summer, so that these kids who, aren't typically able to do fun activities during the summer, this was their cool story to say, I got to spend a day, tackling Justin Simmons. And, it was so nerve wracking. He had just signed a huge deal, and these kids were like diving at his knees. And, but it's so fun to be able to see kids have that spark back in their
Yeah.
eyes, and just have that opportunity that they wouldn't necessarily get otherwise. And so many of our celebrity ambassadors understand the importance of extracurricular activities, and that involvement early on in sports can really help their education in the long term. And so that's why they love to get involved with us. And then I do want to speak about
Please.
our Precious Perks workforce development program, because it's one of our newest programs, and we're so excited about it, because it's really that final connecting piece of all the resources and opportunities that we offer throughout the year, really connecting these kids once they turn, 16. The age group that we focus on is 16 to 24, and we have a coffee shop in house. And so if you're ever in Broomfield, come grab a cup of coffee. You'll get to meet our participants who this is their first workforce experience, and we're not only giving them an opportunity to work at the coffee shop, but we're having them go through a 20 learning module course. So they're gaining certificates. They're learning everything from retail management all the way to how to write a resume, how to de-escalate situations,
Mm.
all these things that people tend to think everyone should know. But so many of the kids we work with don't know these things yet. And we want to send them off into the workforce knowing that they are well prepared and confident to take on a job. And it's so cool to be able to see the children that we're working with. I shouldn't call them children, they're young adults.
Right.
The young adults that we're working with now are now so confident. Stefano came to us, and he came in looking, he would not look at you in the eye. He would look down at his feet, answer you with one word responses. And now he is running the show. If you come
Mm.
in and Stefano's here, he's taking you around, showing you what shirt to buy, what cup of coffee to choose. His favorite's the caramel macchiato, and he'll try to
Of course.
sell you on it
Yeah.
all day long. But just his confidence alone, he'll be the first to tell you he was severely bullied growing up. He came
Mm.
from foster care. And so that he just carried that with him. And now just investing that extra time in him and showing him all these different tools he can use, he is so confident. And he's actually already gained another job with Columbia Sportswear through our partnership with them, which has been really fantastic to see him grow in that realm as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So are there any other examples that stand out to you where from your work there? Because you said you've been there for 11 years.
11
And
years.
is there another example you can share that stands out in your mind where a precious child uh, was making a difference in somebody's life?
I mean, just recently we were working with a
Mm,
family, Maria, and she found out she was receiving services from us, but during her time with us, she found out that she had cancer and she
mm,
has these beautiful children. And her obvious main concern was making sure that they were well cared for during this uncertain time.
sure.
I love this story because it just shows the extra steps we take to make sure that the whole family is taken care of. We have a birthday bag program where we work with an organization who provides these amazing cakes to our families. And so we were able to get this amazing cake for her daughter. But then, in addition to that, Maria started losing her hair. And it was
Mm,
really scary, not only for her and for her confidence, but for her children to see that. And they were just really struggling. And so we actually were able to make a connection with a place down in Denver that was a beautiful wig shop. And
mm,
we took her shopping, got her fitted for a really
cool.
beautiful wig, and that confidence that she just instantly had just made her feel more empowered. But it also, was dripped down into the kiddos, and they felt so empowered and confident with all of the material, with all the things that we not only give them, but just with that extra care that we
Yeah.
provide. And I think that's something that sets us apart, is that all of the families that we work with, we try so hard to make them feel loved and cared for, that it's not just, clothing that we're giving them or an opportunity to play soccer, but we are a part of their family. We're a part of their support system. All of our families know that we're in their corner when it comes down to it. Like, we are supporting them, we're fighting for them, we're along this journey with them. And I think that's something that every single family that we serve would be happy to speak about.
Yeah, you're partnering with them. Well, as you said at the beginning, um, cradle to career, really taking that holistic approach. You guys have thought through so many of the aspects of serving the community. It really a lot of thought put into it, so that's great. Okay, so we'll wrap up here, but want to ask about Colorado Gives Day, where people should go here for the I guess the campaign page, right? Is that where you want people to go for contributing and supporting y'all this month?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned,
Yeah.
Colorado is such a philanthropic state. We're so proud to be in Colorado,
Yeah.
because Colorado Gives Day is such a cool movement that has been created where, especially this page, when you donate on Colorado Gives Day, or if you can schedule your donation today if you want. If you're like, I'm not going to remember next Tuesday to do this,
Sure.
you can schedule your donation right now, and the money will still be counted towards that total, because the percentage of money that we raise through Colorado Gives Day, it goes towards an incentive fund where we would get a percentage of that $1.6 million of that incentive fund that the First Bank provides through Colorado Gives Day, which is fantastic.
Right. And I skipped over that whole thing. So there is a $1.6 million pot that if you
Mhm.
contribute to a precious child through the campaign page here at coloradogives.org, then they will get a slice of that pot, along with everybody else that contributes, so or that gets donations. So help them out. Your money is more powerful by giving through this page. It's amplified to help support them. So help them get that money from First Bank, and great on First Bank for doing that as well, stepping up
Yeah.
here at the end of the year to support that. And what a great campaign.
Mhm.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time here this morning to share about a precious child. Is there anything else that you want to share that I haven't covered, I haven't asked you about that you want to dive into?
I just
Yeah.
always love to mention that we're open year round, and volunteering. The cool thing is that
Mm,
we have so many volunteers that come through our doors every single day. Pre-pandemic, we had more than 9,000, and so we're trying to get our numbers back up there. So if you ever, if as an individual, as a family, as a company, we are open to tons of volunteers coming through. We allow kids as young as 5 to come in with their parents to volunteer. So it's a
cool.
great opportunity to bring your children in, bring their donations with them, and they can actually process their donations and put them out onto the store floor. And so you can start having those conversations early about what it means to give back, and that they can make a difference in their community.
Hmm.
So it's a really cool opportunity for that as well.
And you can get a cup of coffee.
Exactly. Love
So
that.
like a great caramel macchiato, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
So, no, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so folks, um, please consider contributing to a Precious Child. Courtney, I'm going to wrap up here. I will let you go. Thank you so much for spending a few moments here with me today, and I wish you guys all luck during Colorado Gives Day this year. Hope it's a success, and look forward to hearing more about it. And I will be sending in my contribution as well, going to the campaign page and getting that set up. So,
Nice.
thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much.
Yep, you're absolutely welcome. Have a great rest of your morning.
You too. Bye.
All right, friends. Thank you for hanging out with me for a few minutes and listening to Courtney Wickberg of A Precious Child and all of the great benefits that they're providing through their 5 different initiatives, Cradle to Career Services, really helping children and families in all stages just get their feet underneath them, get food if they need, get clothes if they need, get set up for success in school, get set up for success in early career development and learning the basics of what it means to have a job. Like I said, I'm going through and looking for ways to help promote organizations around Colorado Gives Day, doing that here through my live stream. And I just want to share briefly about what I've been doing here as well. But I'll wrap up and just say, go check out A Precious Child on the coloradogives.org campaign page and set your contribution up for them, because I think what they're doing is really powerful and helpful. And I think we have all known people who can benefit from services that they provide. So briefly about what I've been doing, I want to share about why I set this live stream up, right? Because everybody has a podcast these days, right? So I figured, why not me? But I'm not super into the audio podcasting. I love video, and I think this is a great format. But I started Mile High Live because I want to help spotlight people who are elevating Colorado. People like Courtney and the team at A Precious Child who are rolling up their sleeves and doing hard work to help support our community and help make Colorado the great place that it is to live. I know the secret is out. We can't keep it bottled up anymore. But people are flocking into Colorado. But let's continue to make this place a great state. And I started this earlier this year, and I've been very fortunate to have the support from people in the community who've joined me in this stream to do several interviews throughout the year. And you can go to my YouTube page. This is where I'm doing it here, Mile High Live. And, I've recently talked with a wonderful woman who's helping immigrants in Aurora, talked with an organization down in Woodland Park who is helping clean up the forest and helping meet the needs of people who are transient and living in the forest, doing awesome work in there, talking about suicide prevention and many other interviews over the course of this year. And I've got some other exciting ones coming up here over the next couple months as well, and would love for you to join me in checking that out. So, of course, everybody's got to make their plug, subscribe, like, all of that, right? And I would appreciate that. I would love it. But what's important isn't subscriber numbers, but really it's focusing on the good things that people are doing in Colorado. That's my goal. It's about spotlighting them. And if you have an interest in continuing to hear more about what's going on in our state that's good, and not focusing so much on the negative things that are going on in social media, then by all means, hit the subscribe button. Would love for you to join us. Love for you to engage during my live streams as I do these. So you know what to do. Everybody says it. But that's really the focus on what people are doing to help elevate Colorado and make this a great place to live. So I will end it with that. I really appreciate A Precious Child for spending time coming on and sharing with me, sharing with you about the good work that they're doing, helping out kids, helping out families. It's really important, of course, during this holiday season, if you're opening up your wallets and looking at supporting organizations, I hope you'll go over there and support them. So, friends, with that, I'm Aaron Johnson from Mile High Live. That's what's good in Colorado. See ya.